This video I talked about standard form for the equation of a parabola, and I have it summarized right here. Notice it's x squared equals 4py if the parabola opens up or down, and the sign of p helps determine whether it opens up or down. Notice in each case the focus is inside the parabola. Sometimes this bothers people that I label this as P, but notice this says P is a negative value. So this is correctly labeled down here at P, and because P is negative, the opposite of P would be positive, so that is also correctly written right here. Down here we have what the equation looks like if the parabola opens right or left. If P is positive, it opens to the right, and if P is negative, it opens to the left. Notice that in each case I have the vertex of the parabola at the origin. We'll do some examples in a few minutes where we shift the parabola off the origin, and we'll see what happens. What we're going to do now is practice writing the equation of a parabola if we're given some information about that parabola. And we'll start with this problem. Find the standard form of the equation of a parabola with a vertex 0, 0 and focus 5, 0. Now you don't have to draw a picture, but I find it easier to think it through if I do. So I'm going to put the vertex at the origin and the focus at 5, 0. So it's on the x-axis right here. And we know because the focus is inside the parabola, that we have a parabola that opens to the right. If we needed to, we could draw the directrix over here, but it doesn't specifically ask us to, so I won't this time. But because we know the parabola opens to the right, let me remind you that we know the equation looks like this. Y squared equals 4px. So let's write that down. Y squared equals 4px. Now remember, the absolute value of p is the distance from the vertex to the focus. So in this case, our p value is 5, and because it opens to the right, we know it's a positive 5. So if we substitute 5 into this equation, we get this, and generally we multiply these two together and we would present our answer this way. Y squared equals 20x is the equation of the parabola described. Let's do another one. This time we're trying to find the equation of the parabola with the vertex at the origin, and this time we're given the directrix. So let's, again, draw a picture. So my vertex is at the origin. Now the directrix is at y equals 9. That puts the line here above the vertex. Remember, the focus is on the opposite side of the vertex, so the focus is actually down here at -9. So the parabola opens down this way. Since we have a parabola that's opening down, we know it is this type of an equation, x squared equals 4py. This time, our p value is negative because it's opening down. The distance from vertex to this focus is p, absolute value of p, but our p value here is going to be -9. So we can just substitute that value in. X squared equals 4 times -9 times y, and the equation of this parabola is x squared equals -36y. And this one's complete as well. Let's do another one. And this time, the vertex is not at the origin. Look at this one that we're going to do. Find the standard form of the equation of the parabola with vertex 7, -2 and focus 7, -11. So let me draw the picture. Let's see, 7, -2. So I'll put 7 here and -2 about right here. So here's our vertex. Our focus is at 7, -11. So 7, -11, let's put it down right about here. So again, I notice that we have a parabola that is opening down. So we're opening it this way. So again, I have this type of an equation, x squared equals 4py. But remember, this is the equation if the parabola has the vertex at the origin. If we shift the parabola off the origin, the equation becomes this. X minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k, where hk is the vertex of the parabola. So let's substitute that information in. We have x minus -7, just x minus 7 squared equals 4p times y minus -2, means we have y plus 2. Now we're looking here for the p value. It's opening down, so we know it will be negative. But we're concerned about this distance right from the vertex to the focus. Notice we're up here at -2. We're going down to -11. That's 9 units. So our p value here will be -9, just like it was in the previous example, but we had to do a little bit more work to get it. So we have x minus 7 squared equals 4 times -9 times y plus 2. And so I would write the equation x minus 7 squared equals -36 times y plus 2. Let's do another one. For this next one, we aren't going to be given the vertex. In the previous 3 examples, we had been. But still, the picture will help us figure out what the equation should look like. So I'm going to start with that. We were looking for the equation of the parabola. Its focus is at -8, -5. So let's put that on our picture. -8, I'll put it right here, -8, -5. So here's my focus. The directrix is x equals 4. Remember, that's a vertical line that goes right through 4 right here. Here's the equation x equals 4. So our first task is to figure out where the vertex is. Remember, it will be right in between the focus and the directrix. It has to be equidistant from them. So we need to find this distance right here and divide it by 2, and we'll know the distance from a vertex to focus and vertex to directrix. Or we can average the numbers 4 and -8. So if we average 4 plus -8 and divide by 2, you'll get a -4 divided by 2, and you get -2. So the average of 4 and -8 is -2, so we know the x-coordinate of that vertex is at -2. When I mentioned it initially, I said we could have found the distance between these two from 4 to -8. You would find that distance just by subtracting 4 minus -8. you would get a distance of 12. And that means the distance from focus to directrix is 12. Divide 12 by 2 and you get 6. So our distance from focus to vertex is 6 units. And our distance from vertex to directrix is 6 units. So again, we can confirm that its x coordinate is going to be at -2. The y coordinate is going to be -5, just as it was with the focus. So our vertex is at -2, -5. And let's just draw a little sketch to remind ourselves that this one opens to the left. So if it opens to the left, that means we have a y squared equals 4px type. But this one assumes the vertex is at the origin. Let's pop in the vertex of -2, -5. So I have y minus the y coordinate squared equals 4p times x minus the x coordinate. And now we're almost there. We don't have the p value, but we can look at our picture. Notice the distance from vertex to focus is 6 units. And it's opening to the left, so we know p equals -6 for this problem. This distance is 6 units. So we have y plus 5 squared equals 4 times -6 times x plus 2. So our equation is y plus 5 squared equals -24 times x plus 2. Let's do one more. We're going to find the standard form for the equation of a parabola with vertex at -1, 3 that opens to the right and passes through the point 10, 6. So let's draw that one. So -1, 3, I'll put that right here. So this is -1 and this is 3. Now this time we weren't given the directrix and we weren't given the focus. We were just given a sort of an arbitrary point that is on the parabola. The parabola passes through the point 10, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll put 10 way out here. And 6. Let's see, there's 3. Then 6 would be about this high. So there's the point 10, 6. So let me just draw my parabola that goes through that point. And we'll draw the parabola this way. So here's the look of the parabola that we're trying to find the equation for. Notice it opens to the right. So we have an y squared equals 4px type. We know that the vertex is at -1, 3, so let's pop that in. Y minus, take care that you put the y coordinate of the vertex in. So y minus 3 squared equals 4p times x minus -1. So here's our equation, but p is still unknown. But our clue is that we know the equation or the parabola must go through the point 10, 6. That means 10, 6 is a solution for this equation, or 10, 6 works if you put it into the equation. So we're going to substitute the ordered pair 10, 6 into the equation and see what happens. So we'll put 6 in for y, and we'll substitute 10 in for x. And now notice we have an equation with the only unknown p. So we have 6 minus 3, which is 3 squared. That makes 9. And we have 10 plus 1, that's 11. So this equation becomes 9 equals 44p, or p equals 9 over 44 for this problem. And notice p is positive, as we expected. It opens to the right, so we would expect p to be positive. So if we substitute 9/44 into our equation, right here, we have y minus 3 squared equals 4 times 9 over 44 times x plus 1. And it would probably be nicer to present this equation with these two multiplied out. So we have y minus 3 squared equals, and notice the 4 and the 44 cancel. So we have 9/11 times x plus 1. And we have an equation for this parabola.